Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houstion, and tonight we're speaking with Rocco Fonzarelli. And Rocco, you're the lead singer, bass player from the Kiss tribute band Kiss Alive, and you guys are based out of Los Angeles area. Is that correct?
We all come from Southern California, yeah. So few in Torrance, a few in Huntington Beach, and one in Oceanside. So.
Okay, now let me ask you, Rocco. I've seen photos of you guys on Facebook page, of a band, and I was going to ask, are you relatively a new band? Because I see you have a show coming up with the Santana tribute, but I'm not sure if you guys played your first show yet.
Oh yeah, no, we've been going for about 3 years.
Oh wow.
We fly all over the country doing tribute shows. Played with a lot of great tribute acts, and yeah, we've been doing this for a while, so it's been really fun.
Okay, now I guess the best place to start this interview off is I'd like to ask you, like a lot of people might be curious, why you made the decision to go out of a tribute band rather than being a band where you write and record your own original music.
Well, for me it was like on accident. A friend, our guitar player, Randy Rowe, who is our ace really, started kind of a Kiss tribute probably about 4 years ago, and it was just for like a one night kind of, hey, we're going to get together and put makeup on and do Kiss songs. And I went to see them, and they were great, and then their bass player ended up quitting, and they decided to kind of keep going forward, so that's how we kind of started. And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And turns out I was pretty good at it, so I was, and then, we kind of changed lineups a few times, and here we are, so.
And now let me ask you, Rocco. Now, I'm sure, like a lot of musicians, you were in other bands before. I was curious, was the bass something you always played, or is that something you picked up?
Bass, yeah. I mean, I played guitar and bass, but stylistically, I would say I didn't originally play like Gene. I was more of a, funky type of, bass player, and then, it kind of moved into that area. But yeah, I started on guitar and vocal.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to ask you, because, Gene Simmons, he's not your typical bass player, and then when you're doing Gene Simmons, you also have to do a lot of the lead singing. Is that something that's new for you, or have you always kind of sang too?
No, I've always sang, yeah. And to me, Gene Simmons has more of a character voice, so I don't actually get to use my range, if that makes sense. Like, I don't actually get to, he's kind of a lower growl, and it's almost like a monster kind of vocal, and so I don't really get to sing in the range that I usually, hit with. I've been a trained opera singer since I was 15.
Wow.
I started singing opera when I was 15. So it's funny to kind of because when we warm up for the show, I'm always doing the opera warm ups, and then by the time I hit the stage, it's I go into the kind of monster growl vocal. But yeah, I was originally, when I was 15, I started training as an opera singer.
Wow. Now let me ask you, because between you and the guy that does Paul, I'm sure you guys do an equal amount of splitting up the lead singing. But one thing I always enjoyed, as a Kiss fan, is the fact that Kiss was a band a lot like the Beatles, where you didn't just have one lead singer; all the guys in the band sang. Is that something you, as a Kiss fan, have always enjoyed as well?
It's funny. That's exactly when someone asks about Kiss. That's the way because they always assume I'm the lead singer, and I always, for me, Paul Stanley is the voice of Kiss, and then but as far as I always compare him to the Beatles as well. But yeah, there's a lot of members, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
I love,
Hello, you there?
Rip It Out's my favorite, and then we just added Rocket Ride to the set. I'm always down for the obscure, the more offbeat, like Peter Criss songs. We do Black Dot. Wanted to add Baby Driver and Hooligan at some point, but yeah, I always enjoy the offbeat, and even the B sides for Paul and Gene. I mean, I really Almost Human is my favorite. One of my favorite songs, and I don't know if anybody else knows what that means, probably, but if they're a Kiss fan, they know. Almost Human and Charisma is like one of my favorite songs that I wanted to add to the set. So.
Wow. Yeah, I think the cool thing about Kiss too is the fact that all the guys in the band sing. I mean, that gives everybody a chance to kind of be in the spotlight, and then you and the guy doing Paul, you got other guys singing as well. So while you're doing the majority of the singing, everybody kind of gets their little shot in the spotlight, if you will.
Yeah, that's always good. And like I said, we're always down to add songs from the other guys.
Yeah.
But we try and keep it. If you look at our set, usually it usually goes Paul Gene, all the way down until we get to Shock Me and Beth and Black Diamond and Rocket Ride. So we trade off pretty good and pretty easy.
And let me ask you, Rocco, because the band obviously is named Kiss Alive. So I was curious, did you guys name the band that because that's your favorite album, your favorite era of the band, or what?
Well, it's Kissed Alive, Kissed.
Okay, Kissed Alive.
Kissed Alive.
Yeah.
And I think actually the agency that we were with, we had come from, a few of us had come from a band called Just Alive.
Oh, okay.
And I think our agency kind of helped us out with the name. They kind of went, because there is a Kiss Alive tribute that's not us, that sometimes people get mixed up with, and so it's kind of funny. But I thought if I wanted to keep the name Kiss in the name, so people knew that we were Kiss tribute. Like, in other words, there's a group out there called Mr. Speech. They're probably the most well-known Kiss tribute. A lot of people that aren't Kiss fans wouldn't recognize that as a Kiss tribute because they wouldn't have known that Mr. Speed is kind of a B-side song. So,
Yeah.
We like to keep that name. We use the logo, obviously. So we like for people to know that. So
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question.
And Kiss Alive. Reason I asked that too is because in looking at the photos, you guys, the costumes kind of look like they came from that era, and like you said, I also seen there's another band out there called Alive or something, or does that ever get in the way when you guys are trying to book shows? They think you're a different band or something?
No, I don't think so. I think most people don't really follow tribute acts as closely as like regular bands. So, I think just having the name, Kiss tribute, you know what you're getting, I think. But yeah, we kind of go with the Destroyer costumes, like we.
Okay.
For me, it's like that was the most popular era, and they were the cool. And Gene's costume, I think, in the Destroyer era is the coolest. It's the armor with the dragon boots, and I think that's recognized more than like the other eras. So that's kind of but it wasn't intentional. I don't think. I just think that was what was available to us at the time, and then we kind of but we like to switch it up. I mean, a couple guys, our ace has a few different costumes, and our Peter, I think, has a.
And then I think what's cool about what you guys do, because you and me were talking a little in the emails and getting the interview set up, and you sent me in this email a list of your top 10 favorite Kiss songs. In no particular order. You said like this is the list you gave me: Take Me, Domino, Almost Human, Magic Touch, Sure Know Something, Rip It Out, King of the Mountain, Rise to It, You Make Me Rock Hard, and She's So European. And then you kind of commented here, and the only one we've actually played is Rock Hard. Now, that was one of the 2 new tracks, of course, off of Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. For anybody who's a real true Kiss fan, would know that. But my point being is that that's kind of cool that while you guys are a makeup band, that you're kind of playing material from throughout the band's entire career. And I think that's one really cool thing you guys are doing, because a lot of the Kiss tributes, they just solely stick to the makeup stuff. And I think it's cool that you guys are paying tribute to everything.
Yeah, and we've tried a lot of I think we may have played Sure Know Something live as well, but Rock Hard was requested by one of our, one of our kind of loyal fans, and we just thought, why not, let's give it a try. But Lick It Up and Heaven's on Fire are also in our set early.
Yeah.
I think we've tried Tears Are Falling. I mean, for me, as a Kiss fan, I'm open to the complete catalog and the canon of Kiss, whether Ace Frehley was in the room or not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, and Peter Criss. So, and I think everybody feels that way because the material is usually, has been strong over the years, no matter who was in the band. So, we're not like Kiss snobs. There's a lot of bands out there that are just kind of Kiss snobs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
They kind of go overboard with the costume, detail, and for us, it's just like we have like kind of more of a philosophy of look, we're fans too, and we're here not so much to play for you as to lead you in the sing along, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think
and if someone enjoys a different era than the original lineup, we're gonna be there to Lick It Up has always been one of our biggest songs of the set.
Yeah.
Because the people we're playing to are in that demographic of who grew up listening to Kiss in the 80s. So, like 30s to 40s, or late 20s to kind of early 40s, and and that's we want to keep them happy. I mean, I'm always up for keeping people happy. So whatever you want to hear, we probably play it.
Yeah. And the cool thing about that is too that like Kiss even they on their most recent tours they've been throwing in some songs they haven't like War Machine and things that they haven't played in years. But then at the same time they probably you never hear Kiss actually playing anything off of Unmasked unless they're like in Australia. They play Shandy, I know, when they're in Australia, but even Kiss kind of does the same thing, and I think it's cool for a trippy band like you guys that, hey man, you want to hear it, we'll be willing to play anything from any area, and I think that's kind of what you guys got working for you right now.
Yeah, and you know what, I've been pushing Shandy since we started, really. I said, someday I really want to play this song somewhere, because it's just fun. It's just fun to explore the whole career, not just what certain people like or don't like. I mean, if for me, honestly, we're playing the songs that I don't listen to anything that's on our set list in the car, if that makes sense. Because I've sat and played these songs, forever, like 100 shows, and reviewed them for, I don't listen to Detroit or any of the songs that are in our set. I don't listen to regularly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to get another flavor because we're playing them all the time.
Of course, yeah.
And it's not that I don't like it. I just you just kind of we've done it so long. So but it's always nice to add something new. Like I said, we just added Rocket Ride and what else? Parasite is back. We've played it before, but it's back in the set.
Yeah.
And we worked on Psycho Circus the other day just for fun. Dominoes, we're always rehearsing with Domino. I don't think we've played it live yet, but it's, we always play almost year-end. And, when we're messing around, we played Sugar or Something at rehearsal the other day,
That's
so
cool.
It's always fun to just kind of grab something, different, and then just kind of throw it in the mix.
Have you guys ever toyed with the idea of doing like an unplugged thing or anything like that?
Say that one more time?
Have you ever toyed with the idea of doing like an unplugged show? I was curious, or is that would that be like a special event?
The thing about the Unplugged is, because I think we would really be good at it, and we have actually sat down and done Unplugged before, just in rehearsal. But some of we do a lot of the comic book conventions, like walk around and kind of hand out our promo stuff. So it's been talked about soon to do like kind of an Unplugged at one of the comic book convention kind of things. We just we can't get anybody to kind of pay for it.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. And then,
it's definitely one of the things we even talked about. I mean, as a low scale as it will be, as doing kind of an orchestra as well. Like as far as like having a couple strings and like violins and
wow.
and horns and things. Yeah, just because we have friends that from we have friends in all kinds of different musical situations where we thought, okay, if we get like a 5-piece orchestra, a 4-piece orchestra, and have them wear Kiss makeup, and we'll play that night when we'll have them do this or that.
I mean, yeah, that's totally cool. I mean, that's taken to the next level, and it makes it interesting for if you guys were to do something like that for both the band and the audience, because then we're not always getting the same show. They're really getting something special for their money, and that's kind of what Kiss always tries to do. I was going to ask you if you had a chance to listen to the new Kiss 40 CD. I mean, it's another greatest hits collection, but what I really liked about this one is besides you getting the 2 CDs, it's kind of an overview of the whole 40 years of Kiss, and if you put the CD on from start to finish, it kind of shows every style of music the band has done, and it gives you kind of a real overview and appreciation of of what the band has accomplished over the last 40 years. And one of my favorite tracks off of that is actually the unreleased demo that Gene does, Reputation. I was curious if you've heard that, your thoughts on the song, and if you've ever thought about maybe putting that into the set, 'cause I think that would be a cool tune to do.
Honestly, I have not heard it yet, but I always listen to their outtakes. I just got through some of the Psycho Circus outtakes that I'd never heard before. I thought, wow, it's really cool. It blows my mind when guys like that, like they're always writing. They're always there's always material that you just never know about or hear about. But no, I haven't heard it yet, but I'll definitely take a listen. But I don't think we'd ever add anything that people don't know into the set that isn't like officially recorded. But if it's something great, I mean, we're always up for something new.
And that, as far as you doing, Gene, I was curious. Do you go to the extreme of like, did you learn how to breathe the fire and spit the blood and all that, or?
I do it really safe. I'll send you a video of me doing the fire.
Okay.
I do the fire pretty regularly, unless the club is really against it. But I have a roadie named Nick Newman who actually has a fire extinguisher on hand just in case I catch on fire.
Yeah.
but yeah, I do it. I wouldn't. I do it on a very safe way. I don't use liquid. I use a powder.
Wow.
And the powder isn't flammable.
And now
I'll leave it at that. But it looks great. And
don't try it at home, folks. But let me ask you, when you first toyed the idea of doing that for the very first time, were you at all nervous? And how long did it take you to where you felt comfortable that you could do it safely?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking because it was right around the time Great White had their accident.
Yeah.
And so obviously when the idea came up, because I assumed no one would let me do it anyway. So it wasn't even a thought. And then I kind of like I just felt like it's part of the show. And, when a venue says no, we usually cut Firehouse out of the set unless we have to play it, kind of thing.
Okay.
So there's been a few venues that we've played that don't want it and don't like it. Mainly House of Blues, like the big corporate kind of places. But most places, if I explain how I do it and I have the extinguisher on hand, they'd say that they're usually pretty open to it and excited about it. But yeah, it took me. We spent I have the video actually of the first time that we were rehearsing it, and it was just hysterical because I was I had this powder that I use that explodes in the air, and it's really neat. But it's just hilarious because there's like white powder all over my face and shirt and floor, and we're cracking up because sometimes it would get really low and sometimes it gets really big. But yeah, it was crazy. It's a neat trick though. I have a tiki torch and a fire extinguisher in the car with me at all times, just in case like a party breaks out or something, and I can do my party trick.
Wow.
Ready to breathe fire for people, but it's been really cool. I think I have circus blood. Like I have like circus in my blood because my great uncle was in the circus, so I think it comes from that. Wanting to do that more than anything.
Wow, that's totally cool. Now let me let me ask you. Now, I'm sure a big part of what you do, and probably one of the hardest parts about putting on your show, is the time it takes you guys to put on, the makeup. I was curious, the first time you did that, how long did it take you to do that, and does that still take you like a while before you go on stage, or what's the process?
Well, it's always funny because, sometimes I don't, like, the sound guy is usually always late. Now, not to blame the sound guy, but the sound guy is usually late. So we're always on we want a sound check, but they don't realize that it takes us 2 hours sometimes to get ready. So, but yeah, the first time I put the makeup on, I mean, it looked really bad. But it looked good enough to know what it was. Like, you knew what I was going for.
Yeah.
But, as the shows, progressed and, it got better and better and better. And I think I got it down to the way I do it now. I mean, there's, yeah, it takes, if I'm in a hurry, I would say probably 45 minutes. But if I can take my time, I'll take up to about an hour and a half.
Oh, cool. And,
I think Randy is, our ace, Randy Rowe.
Yeah.
Our ace probably has it the fastest. I mean, he is done in like 10 minutes. It feels like he's like 10 minutes and he's done. It's like, so how do you do that?
Yeah.
So good. And it always looks good. So.
Wow, that's cool. Now, let me ask you about the costume, because I was very impressed when I was looking at the photos on your guys' website. The costumes, like I said, they look really professional. They look like what the real kids would wear. How expensive are those costumes? Are they custom made, or do you guys actually buy them?
I think they all look good. They all look. The three of the guys, the other three, they're all store bought. They're trademark Kiss costumes. I think they may have been altered a bit here and there for fitting, the person. But mine was custom made by a guy in Wyoming who saw me on the internet, and it was and he said, "Yeah, I'd really like to build your armor for you." And I said, "Okay." So he contacted me and for videos, and he kind of custom made my armor for me. It's kind of I need another. I just get nervous because it's like the upkeep stuff.
Yeah.
So it's always I always want another one on the side. So I have kind of a store bought destroyer costume for the backup, just in case for some reason that my armor. But I'm actually having new armor built right now, so should have it by probably the end of October.
Yeah,
the beginning of November.
Yeah, I never thought till talking to you right now. I was curious about that armor. Does that weigh? That must weigh a ton. I mean, to wear that and the rest of the costume and be holding a bass guitar and singing at the same time, that must all weigh a ton.
It's funny because when I'm in rehearsal without all that stuff on, I feel so free,
Yeah.
And when you start loading up on costumes and, it weighs you down a bit, but you kind of get used to, it. I can still, like, kick my legs high like a showgirl and, and run around. But yeah, it's a little bit, there's a lot. That's another thing is when you're in a Kiss tribute, it's not just, you just don't plug in and go,
Yeah.
There's like, there's a lot to it. And, it's really cool.
And
it's really fun. So, yeah.
That's cool. And I was curious, by the time, you get off stage, I mean, how hot are you? Because you guys must do at least a 90-minute set, or I would imagine, or at least an hour. And by the time you get off the stage, you've been up there rocking out, and the makeup's got to be dripping and get in your eye. I mean, what's that like?
Well, more recently, I think one show, I tried something new, and the makeup like kind of ran. But, and I was out of town. I think it was in Nebraska or something, and I was just like, it looked like my face melted. But most of it, we have really good makeup, and it doesn't usually run. So
that's cool.
It holds up. And then we usually kind of take 5 right after the show and to cool off and touch it up before we like come out and do photos, because we'll take photos all night with people if they want a picture. So and
after you get done signing autographs and you guys go backstage or in the back of the club, how cool is that to finally be able to take off the costume and kind of cool down. It must be kind of like a real process, going from being on stage to getting out of the costume.
Yeah, I'm usually the last one out of the costume just because I wouldn't take it off if I didn't have to.
Yeah.
So, I tell you, there's nothing like being Gene. I mean, I remember like you said, the first time I put the makeup on, I remember the first time, even though it looked bad, I was like, wow, this is, I can't, like, this is the cool thing, and I can't imagine what it's like to really be Gene.
Yeah.
Have it be, the guy that invented what I'm copying, and so it's just a really neat experience because when people go to Disneyland, they go try and take their picture with Mickey Mouse. They know it's a guy in a costume, but they have to have a picture with Mickey Mouse, and that's kind of the same ideas, that we're representing. We're representing this huge, massive corporation sort of thing that everyone that comes to the show that they love Gene.
Yeah. You make a great point there because I'll give you an example. I went to see the Kiss Def Leppard show this summer at Irvine Meadows, and while we're waiting in line to get into the concert, there's this guy. He's all dolled up just like Gene Simmons, wearing the armor and everything out in the audience. I mean, not out in the parking lot actually selling pretending he's people know it's a fan dressed up as Gene, or Gene looked like whatever you want to say, but he was out there selling T-shirts, and people were just coming up to him, like you said, and I knew it wasn't Gene Simmons, but people, hey, can I take a picture with you? And it was just kind of a funniest thing, because it wasn't actual Gene, but people were still wanting their picture with the guy to say, maybe go show their friends, hey, I was with Gene Simmons or whatever, but it was just the funniest thing I'd ever seen. Do you ever go out in public, when you're not performing, dressed up in the gear, just to see what kind of reaction you get?
Well, I'll have to refer you to my short film. I made a short film with the producers of the Muppets. It's called Dean, D-E-A-N, and it's called Dean, a Parody with a Kiss, and it's about that kind of thing where I'm in the costume. But give it a chance if you go look at it. It's on YouTube. It's written by me and some of the producers of the Muppets, and we kind of did this like funny take on what it would be like if you were kind of Gene Simmons all the time.
Yeah.
But I get paid I get a lot of things where I'm actually not playing. I get a lot of people pay me to like do corporate events and just take pictures.
Wow.
So anytime I'm in the costume out in public, I'll try and go do some fun stuff. So I'll go to Trader Joe's and go shopping and get my picture taken, like shopping. And I went to Hometown Buffet one time in the costume, and then I went to Barnes and Noble and found like a corner where I could like read a book and take pictures. And I've tweeted all these to Gene, and he'll retweet them, and it's really funny. So
oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I've been seen by probably like 1 million people in the costume in funny situations. Like I have someone with me bowling in the costume and shopping, and
that's
it's
cool.
always funny. It's really fun.
Yeah,
people go crazy too. They show up at a bowling alley in the costume.
Wow, that's totally cool. Now let me ask you, like going in the Hometown Buffet, what kind of reaction did you get? You have any people, employees from a restaurant or a manager coming, hey buddy, you can't come in here, dressed like that. Or what was that like? I could just imagine.
There was one bar that wouldn't let me in because they couldn't identify me.
Yeah.
For my ID. But I've never been asked to leave or anything like that. People are because the original idea, we were going to make a show about just people reacting to the costume and like running away in horror and shock and fear. And people just start smiling and they run right up to you, so it's really funny. And they want to take a picture. I walked into a grocery store once with the Girl Scouts outside.
Wow.
They were just, you would think, these little girls would be frightened by a 7-foot guy in monster makeup, but they're like, wow, your shoes are awesome, your shoes are so cool. So, it's funny, Kiss is part of American culture now, so most people know, when they see it, and they appreciate it. It's so funny.
I mean, Kiss is Kiss is everywhere. I mean, you and me are huge like Kiss fans, so we really got into it because of the music. But I mean, there are people that know Kiss just because of Gene Simmons' Family Jewels or comic books or Kiss Meets the Phantom or whatever. And a lot of people don't even know that. Oh, they're a band, really? Oh, really? They make music? Oh, wow! I thought they were just a comic book. And that's how big and over the top they are, And that's kind of one thing I always, enjoyed about the band. I was curious, as a Kiss fan, what do you think about Tommy and Eric wearing the, Aces and Peters makeup? Do you see anything wrong with that?
Well, I understand the thought. I mean, my favorite era of Kiss, because this is where, real, I guess, hardcore Kiss bands from all the way back will disagree with me. But my favorite era of Kiss was the 82.
Yeah.
So, that Vinnie Vincent and Eric Carr, they were my favorite characters, and they don't have anything against Ace or Peter, obviously.
Yeah.
To have, like, a new face show up in Kiss was just mind-blowing,
Yeah.
So, it was like, whoa, And, I understand, like, Gene's point where, the characters started getting ridiculous. Like, what are we going to do next? Kind of the dog, the chicken, or whatever. So, yeah, I understand keeping the classic four faces. Why not? I don't have a problem. I don't really see a problem with that. I want to bring Eric Carr back, but,
Yeah.
he's the greatest. So.
Yeah, and getting back to your little video you're saying you put about you going up and it's up on YouTube. I mean, you're mentioning that you went to some store with a little Girl Scout selling cookies. I mean, could you just see that like a video of that and in the background Christine 16 playing? I mean, just it's just totally amazing. And I was curious while you're talking about that, you mentioned something about the Muppets because in your email you also mentioned me besides doing the Kiss Alive thing that you're also work somehow with the Muppets and Miss Universe. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. With Miss Universe, it's funny because the day I started on Miss Universe, we were playing in Las Vegas, and my office for Miss Universe was right off the strip, so I walked in on my first day of work in the costume to meet the vice president of Miss Universe, her name's Paula. And I got a picture with Paula in my kid's costume, and then the next day I showed up. I'm like, hey, I'm the guy that I did the production for Miss Universe and Miss USA and Miss America actually.
Okay.
For a couple of years, and I just basically worked with the girls as far as like production stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of wrangle too. I don't know if you know what that means. We just kind of round them up and get them on a bus and get them where they're going.
Okay.
And then I ended up becoming a escort, so I would walk the carpet with them and do their interviews, and I would be a kind of liaison to security and a few other things. So that was really neat. It was a really amazing experience. If I told you what I really did, you wouldn't believe me anyway. So.
Well, what's that? I'd love to hear.
Leave it at that.
Okay, and
then the Muppets, I did. I was a post-production assistant, and I did a little bit of Foley. There's a fencing scene that I did the fencing, and then I did a few voiceovers that ended up getting cut or buried in music. So, but yeah, it's really, really amazing experience. I think the Muppets working with the Muppets and for the Muppets was like a dream come true. It's unbelievable. So it's just another experience.
Yeah, the Kiss and Muppets. I mean, that's kind of it goes hand in hand in the sense, like you said. I mean, you take the Muppets or Kiss, they're both separate entities, but they're like part of the American culture. And getting back to and the Muppets, it's still amazing that they're still going strong. They're now part of Disney, even though the guy that created them, he's no longer with us. But I mean, people have loved the Muppets for decades, just like just like Kiss. Kiss is another one. It's amazing when people kind of Kiss is one of those bands that doesn't always get the respect they deserve, and then you look at the fact that they've even sold more albums than the Beatles. That's just amazing,
Yeah, and well, what's funny about and the Muppets, and then he also took over some of Jim Henson's characters he took over the Swedish Chef and Dr. Teeth and Rolf.
Yeah.
So when his son saw me as Gene Simmons, he was like, "How is that Rocco?" And his father explained to him, you know how I do a tribute to Jim Henson with Rolf. Rocco does a tribute to Gene Simmons, and I was like thinking, we're not on the same level here, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And now you said that actual Gene Simmons has actually tweeted some of your photos. Has he ever come to one of your shows, or has he ever commented on the fact that he knows who your band is?
Well, let's see. Gene was supposed to come do a signing at a comic book store while we were playing in the parking lot. He didn't, but he had to switch something, and then he was going to do something else, and then it got mixed up. So he ended up calling us on the telephone and saying hi, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And then he actually has a restaurant. I live in Torrance, California. He actually has a restaurant in Torrance called Rock and Bridge where I'd gone in the night before, and the manager saw me, and because he recognized me because we were trying to set up events like doing stuff for Rock and Bridge.
Yeah.
In costumes. So he saw me and said, "Hey, guess what? Gene's gonna be here tomorrow. You should come say hi." So I went to see him, and it was me and the Ace Frehley in our band went to see him at the restaurant, and it's really nice. I mean, he was just couldn't be nicer. I've met him probably 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
And this was before I'd even dreamed of that I thought I'd be in a Kiss tribute. And he is always like a really nice, kind person. I don't know, I know a lot of people say a lot of things about him, but every time we've had an experience with him, or I've had an experience with him or around him, he's been nothing but kind.
I mean, that seems to be what a lot of people say. But out of all the guys in the band, he's one of the nicer ones. I mean, even if you look at when they did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there's a lot of bad blood going between the guys before the event, and then Gene actually got up and said whatever he said about Ace and Peter, but he did it in a very friendly way. I thought that was totally cool. And I was going to ask you, what's your thought on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the way things went down?
As far as not playing, or
yeah, all the controversy about not playing, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame only wanted the original guys, and Paul and Gene were trying to get everybody included, and unless they did, they weren't going to perform and all that.
Well, I agree with Paul. I mean, Paul laid it out, and Paul's been right. Rolling Stone. This is crazy, but we were in Rolling Stone for the Kiss tribute before Kiss was, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, we have a photo of us in Rolling Stone before Kiss was in Rolling Stone. So that's completely. They've been ignoring that for years. So for Paul to do what he did and say what he said and make those demands, I mean, I think he was absolutely in the right. They're just, and if Rolling Stone isn't selling like it used to. I mean, no print magazine is.
Yeah.
And, when they put them on the cover, they actually made a profit off of it, so they finally gave in. I mean, I agree with Paul.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that.
I think every member should have been inducted because they're part of history. I mean, that's the biggest one of the biggest rock and roll bands of all time. And whatever his, I can't remember what band he linked it to, but every single member, past, present, and future, was inducted without a hitch.
I mean, I'm glad you made that point for a simple fact, that like you said, Kiss has been around 40 years now, and to get on the cover of Rolling Stone, it took them, being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then not only did they put them on the cover, but then they were trying to make all 4 original, members, badmouth each other, and you're reading all these little catchphrases on, the internet. Gene says Peter and Ace don't deserve to wear the makeup, and I thought, well, boy, they definitely deserve to be on the cover, but that's what it took. And again, if you look at their history of Rolling Stone magazine, you even go back to when Eric Carr first died. He died on the same day as Freddie Mercury, and that got mentioned. in Rolling Stone, and the only way they got Eric Carr's death even mentioned in Rolling Stone magazine is that Bruce, Paul, and Gene they wrote a letter, kind of saying the fact that that Eric Carr didn't even get mentioned his death in Rolling Stone magazine. But then when they printed this letter, he sent this letter to Rolling Stone out into the press. Then that got into their magazine, and I thought, that's kind of, just can you believe that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, but it's that's I think that's what makes Kiss like what's real rock and roll is because they they never played by anyone else's rules, and that's what's really cool. I mean, they could care less. I mean, the only reason they showed up was for the fans. And I understand that completely.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have showed up.
Yeah, and then you look at a band, you look at other bands that have been inducted to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like you said, like even Metallica. That's another one of my favorite bands, but they haven't been doing it for 40 years, and when they got inducted, not they inducted all the original, not all the original, but they inducted Cliff Burton obviously because he died or whatever, and then they even inducted Jason Newsted, and rightfully so because he was in Metallica all the years, and then the guy who only done one album, Robert Trio, he got in there, but then they're not going to induct Eric Carr, they're not going to induct even Vinnie Vincent. Say what you will about the guy, but he's a very talented writer. He contributed a lot to the band. And even Bruce Kulick. I just thought that's a real slap in the face. And like you said, I thought it was cool at least for Paul to say, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame doesn't mean that much to me. And if you want to induct, it's great. But I think all the members, people always saying stuff about Paul, and I thought, that was a upstand thing to do. Say I want all the members of Kiss, inducted, and that kind of got overlooked. I think in all the bad press before the event.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with Paul. I mean, they shouldn't. The Hall of Fame isn't the real Hall of Fame. It's some guy who decides because of his taste and because if it was sales, Kiss would be there.
Yeah.
But anyway, whatever. I mean, it's cool that they made it. They went on their own terms, and I think that's more rock and roll than you can ever ask for. Stuff.
Yeah, and then one of the last things I want to ask you before I let you go, Rocco, is have you been to any of the LA Kiss events? That's of course the Arena Football with Gene and Paul own. Have you been to any of those games, or is that something you're even interested in?
No, I would love to go. Actually, I got hired to do a birthday party for one of the cheerleaders for the LA Kids. I have not been to the game.
Wow.
But I was hired to come in the costume and bring her a birthday cake and sing happy birthday, which was really cool. But I would love to go. I just haven't gone. I mean,
yeah.
I'm outside of I mean, the tribute. We play probably once a month or maybe a couple times a month. And outside of that, I'm usually really busy, but I plan on going. I mean, it would be great.
And do you guys do, are most of your shows locally, in the area where you guys live, around the LA area and San Diego and that, or do you do a lot of stuff out of town as well?
Yeah, we're flying to New Mexico actually this week, and then we'll be in San Diego for Halloween and Mission Day. So yeah, we're kind of all over the place. I think we've been as far as Nebraska. I think we've been as far as Texas on the or New Mexico. I can't remember. But yeah, we go pretty far. We go pretty mid-America. So
yeah.
It's been great.
And then you were mentioning earlier another band that I actually had the privilege of interviewing, Mr. Speed, and they were on last season. I don't know if you're aware of the Access TV. They got this World's Greatest Tributes, and they were just they really did a great show for that. I was curious for a lot of these bands out here, especially in the LA area, that's kind of a pinnacle. Bands are trying to get on that show. Have you guys ever been approached, or is that something you'd ever want to do?
I think we would love to do that. I think Mr. Speed, has worked really hard over the years, and they've definitely achieved what they deserved to get what they have. But as far as that goes, I mean, our pinnacle. I mean, we hit our pinnacle all the time. It's crazy the the things that we've gotten to do, like we're kind of we're the Kiss band. We're endorsed by Stan Lee of Marvel Comics. Like
wow.
we go to all the Comic Cons, and he's actually tweeted us a few times. And not only tweeted us, but cartoon bubbled us. I can send you this photo if you want.
That'd be cool. I'd love to have that. Yeah.
Yeah, Stan Lee's actually, and you know, just like Dennis Rodman was at our show at the Spy Bar. And you know, so we've come to these points where it's just like it can get bigger and better than this. I mean, it was really cool. And you know, what's great is too, is like I was talking about the Mickey Mouse thing with, you know, getting the pictures and stuff. But people, when they hire us, you know, they treat us like the real deal. I mean, they send cars for us and put us up in hotels and feed us really good and, you know, pay us pretty good. It's just, you know, it's a really neat thing. You know, it's a really cool thing. And we're always really humbled by that because, you know, we're just four guys that pretend like we're other guys.
Yeah. So when you guys, So when you guys show up to these events, I was curious. Do you really feel like you get in your Gene mode? You know, whereas you know, you're in the makeup and that costume, you really feel like you're playing that part, if you know what I mean. And then you go home or you do your day job or whatever, and you're not in the costume. And I've heard Alice Cooper kind of talk about it, where when I'm on stage, I'm Alice. When I'm not on stage or I'm at home with my family, I'm, you know, somebody else. You ever really feel like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, it's kind of hard to kind of not, you know, take a, you know, we'll go to, I think we played the Rockoets in Albuquerque, and, you know, in front of like 4,000 people or 6,000 people or something, you know, and then we're in the picture tent for 2 hours, you know, taking photos with fans, and, you know, it's just this crazy thing, and then, so you get back to the hotel, you gotta wipe it off, and you kind of decompress, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
But it's always great. It's always super fun, and you know, but yeah, there's been one or two moments where I've just gone to the extreme in the jean makeup, and you know, I get I think I remember one instance where I just kind of, you know, made too many tongue jokes, and it was over, you know. So,
and you ever have like somebody come up to you for an autograph thinking you're a real Gene Simmons? Come on, man! I know it's you, Gene. You ever get anything like that?
Yeah, there's been a few times where, you know, people that know that, like you know, it's part of American culture, so they recognize the face. But I mean, a lot of times, you know, people are like, "Wow, there goes, you know, there goes Marilyn Manson or whatever," and we're like, "Really?
Yeah.
You think we're Marilyn Manson?"
Yeah.
But it's pretty funny. But yeah, there's been a few people where they'll walk up to me and they'll go, "You really did, ain't you?" And I'll go, "No." And they're like, "Yes, you are." You know, they can't take no for an answer. It's like,
And so, like, let me ask you, because earlier in the interview you were saying that you know we're just a tribute band. You know, a lot of people don't follow you know, tribute bands like they do your average band. But the surprising thing, you know, is my experience is, you know, if you're in a tribute band that's, you know, good enough, you actually get your you know, set of hardcore fans. I've interviewed many tribute bands. They tell me, oh, we see a lot of the same people, same faces at all our shows. They follow us, you know, when we're on tour, and they follow us on Facebook. I mean that must kind of be an amazing feeling, like you said. Hey, we're paying tribute to this band that, you know, we grew up on or whatever. I mean, it must kind of boggle your mind that people are taking the time to check out your Facebook page and commenting on your photos. I mean, what's that like?
Well, I think too, you know, that, you know, you can still catch Kiss on tour, so that's what blows my mind, that people will still come see us, but it's really neat. You know, we have a lot of the same people, like you said, like come to see us, but like I said, I think it's more of they know it's like more of a for us it's a celebration, because we're celebrating the music that we like and we love, and that we love to play, and that we love to hear, you know, and we get to dress up, you know, so leading people in those, you know, big choruses that everyone loves and everyone loves to, you know, be a part of and sing. I mean, they're remembering maybe their experience from when they saw Kiss, but, you know, I think most of the people that come see us, I'd say 90% of the crowd are like moderate Kiss fans. In other words, they don't know the deep cuts like you and I, maybe, but they've been to like the Dodger Stadium
Yeah.
Or the really big shows that and they recognize a couple songs here and there. But we that's one advantage that being a Kiss tribute has is that we are a circus. Basically, we're a circus act. I mean, we can't do the big pyrotechnics, obviously, but we have like the foggers that look like flames, and we have the giant Kiss sign that the classic Kiss sign that has the bulbs that blinks, and I do fire and blood, and our ace has the smoking guitar. So we have all the tricks. I mean, we have confetti cannons at the end.
And see,
all that kind of, the classic stuff, I guess. But we just can't do it on a really big scale. But I think it's the songs that keep people coming back.
Yeah, because
just kind of sing along.
I mean, pretty much any Kiss song you name, they're all greatly written songs. I mean, people say what they want about Gene and Paul, but they're pretty good songwriters. And what Kiss song doesn't really have a hook? And like you said, who hasn't heard Cold Gin or Rock and Roll All Night, on the radio and stuff like that? And so a lot of people, they might not be diehard Kiss fans, but they've heard those songs. And so when they come to see a band, I mean, the other thing you guys got going too is who would want to still see the real Kiss perform in concert? But not everybody can, afford a $200 ticket, And so when they come to see you guys, you're kind of a next best thing. And they're not really getting an amateur act either because, like I'm telling you, even just look, if people go to your Facebook page and look at the photos you guys have up there, you look, you can tell all the hard work, the dedication you guys put into putting on your show. I mean, you're not just getting up there in your jeans and t-shirts. You're looking the part, and you're sounding the part, and that's to me the difference between a tribute and a cover band,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the first when we first started, first couple shows, before kind of right around when the tribute thing started picking up, we would have a few guys just standing. They would stand all the way in the back with their arms folded, and they would come up right after the show and just be like, tell us everything we did wrong. And I think that's hilarious because they'll be, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you play Cold Gin? Why didn't you play, when are you guys going to do this? It's like, oh man, dude, relax. Enjoy yourself. We'll get to it. We're just started.
Yeah, see, that's the thing about Kiss. That's the thing about Kiss fans. Kiss fans are diehards, but what I was told those guys is, hey, you guys want to see a show? Sit down and enjoy it. Otherwise, go form your own tribute band, and you can see all the hard work that goes into what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too is that obviously a lot of it's tough to get it all right, and there's a few other Kiss tributes out there that they have a pretty good this or that. There's a really good Paul, but the Gene's not that great, or the Gene's good, but the Paul's not, or whatever it is. And so I think we have that pretty covered as far as all four of us are do a pretty great job at what we're trying to cover. But I always look at it different tributes bring different aspects of the band to the table, if that makes sense. So I look at it like we're all in this together. At some point, we're gonna have to borrow each other. If we need a gig anyway. So it's just kind of funny to see the criticisms of all the.
Yeah, and on that note, I was curious. Like when one of you are sick and you have a show or something, like if you were to come ill and you have a show this weekend, would you maybe have some a friend of yours or another fellow musician come in and play the Gene part for you? So that the show must go on kind of attitude.
Yeah, I don't know of any other Gene that's kind of local enough
to do that.
to take over, but it's we're always looking for subs because we just never know what's going to happen. Just in case. But I do a little bit with it. I've played with in other Kiss tributes that have borrowed me before, and I think two or three. I think I've been with Kiss Army, I've been with Platinum Kiss, I've been with Las Vegas Kiss. I'm always up for if you need me, just give us a call, and there's not really. But I don't feel like there's a lot of people out there that try and compete with each other, and I don't have time for that kind of thing. I'm like, we are who we are.
Yeah.
We're not,
And what's that like for you? Like you said, you've gone and helped out other bands. I mean, obviously, you do a Kiss tribute yourself. You got your own band, Kissed Alive, and so when you're on stage with those guys, you pretty well practice and rehearse. These are the guys you play with, but is it any different, going to help out another band, another group of guys that you maybe not have played with as much or know as well? Do you still have to go into rehearsal with them, or what's that like?
No, I mean, what's usually, because, it's going to probably be the same 20 songs you're used to playing.
Yeah.
So, if someone says, hey, can I'll look at their list and I'll say, okay, I haven't, like, our band doesn't regularly do Hard Luck Woman, but Army does, so, I have to brush up on that before I go, and then that'll probably end up being the best song of the night because I practiced it the most,
Yeah.
So, kind of that kind of thing where I'll put special effort into the songs that we don't regularly play in our set list. But 90% of the set list, I'm used to, and it's nothing.
Okay. Yeah. And then the last thing I kind of want to jokingly ask you about is, I love your name, Rocco Fonzarelli. Did you ever get any one joking you about your name?
No. I mean, it definitely sets me apart a lot of times. I mean, people know, who I am and from the name, but, I kind of wanted to put that up front, and, cause, my name's on a few things, and I've done, voiceover acting a bit.
Oh, cool.
For a few
Yeah,
shows.
and anybody,
Worked on a few things, so, I like that there's a lot of different things that go with that name, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah, I mean, anybody...
I'm on Miss America, I do this, and that, so...
Yeah, anybody, kind of wondering what I'm referencing, specifically, there was a show back in the 70s and, 80s called Happy Days. There's a character, Arthur Fonzarelli, and his nickname was a Fonz, and he's another one that's just out there in America, became kind of an American icon, and I just thought, that's a cool name, Fonzarelli. That kind of took me back to my...
Yeah, I have a poster of Henry Winkler, and it says Fonzie for president or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like framed on my wall.
Yeah.
It gets everywhere I go that I have to, during the day, like today I do a lot of film work for different clients. Today was like a state debate, like a congressional debate, and I have to wear a name tag, and there's always a reaction to the name. They're just like, wow,
Yeah.
that is the coolest name ever.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought of, so no disrespect. I thought, that's a cool name. That takes me back to when I was a kid. But Rocco, it's been I talked to you all day. I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you go. Before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to say to the people listening to this?
Well, just thanks for taking the time out. If you have any questions, anybody that wants to contact me or us, feel free. But you have our website, our